Okay, welcome back. Where's your paper? Oh, you got it. Excellent. Okay, we're page 13, right? Page 12. Today we're going to discuss the authority, or more precisely, the lack of authority of prophets and prophecy when it comes to legal procedure and when it comes to halacha. All right? There are cases where we do have to listen to them, and there are cases where absolutely not. Don't interfere. All right. So today we're probably going to finish either today or next week. We're going to finish this section, the second section. Next week we'll also study and analyze the midrash that should summarize what we studied throughout the second section. It's I recommend making sure to be here next week. In my opinion, it's a very interesting class on how to analyze a midrash. All right, so let's see what we saw. Ve'asita kechol asher yurucha. Right, we have to follow the instruction of the bedin. Right, anything they say. Afilu al yamin shu small, al small shu yamin, as long as they don't make a fundamental mistake, they have the right to interpret the law in certain cases, and you have to follow their instruction. Now, a case comes to court, and you have a few prophets sitting there in court, and they say, you know what? Let me just ask God. Well, why do we need to have this whole discussion? Why don't they just ask God what the answer is, right? הנביא, אפשר שתהיה נבואתו לעצמו בלבד, להרחיב ליבו ולהוסיף דעתו, ואפשר שישולח לעם מעמי הארץ, לבונן אותם ולהודיעם מה יעשו. All right, so prophecy, the whole point of having a prophet is, well, it could be that he's receiving prophecy for himself, just to expand his mind, reach deeper insight, understanding of the world, of the universe, of life, of human psychology, whatever. All right, and it could be that he will be sent with a message to tell a certain nation, a certain city. It could be the Jewish people. It could be another nation, to tell them and instruct them something to do. וכשמשלחים אותו, נותנים לו אות ומופת כדי שידעו העם שהאל שלחו באמת. And when he's sent by God, God sends him with a sign. He needs to prove his prophecy with a sign. You have it? Page 12. Okay. All right. ולא כל העושה אות ומופת מאמינים אותו שהוא נביא. However, it's not the sign, right, that proves his prophecy. Not anybody who comes and does some sort of fantastic magic trick are we going to believe him that he is a prophet. אלא אדם שהיינו יודעים בו מתחילתו שהוא ראוי לנבואה בחוכמתו ובמעשיו. It says, we only use a sign to say that for him to prove that he's a prophet if it's someone who we would have expected him to be a prophet. We know him. He's very famous for his wisdom and for his behavior. He has proper character traits. He has proper humility, and he's very, very wise, and he knows the Torah very well. Only that kind of a person, if he comes and he says, God sent me with a message, and here is a sign, right, to verify that I have a message from God, only then will we believe him that he's a prophet and follow his instruction. Only then, after someone we already expect him to be a Navi comes and he gives us a sign, מצווה לשמוע ממנו, שנאמר אליו תשמעון. Right, then you have a mitzvah, right? You are commanded to follow his instruction, as the Torah says, Elav tishme'un, you shall listen to him. Moshe Rabbeinu is in a different category. By the way, we're going to review this again in our next course on the philosophical foundation of the Torah. right? And we'll also go into much deeper the difference between Moshe's prophecy and the prophecy of the rest of the prophets. It's two completely different categories, two completely different things. But Moshe, when he came and he verified his status as a Navi, well, not at first, but later on at Sinai, says, Lo he'eminu bo Yisrael mipnei ha'otot she'asa. We don't have faith in Moshe. We don't trust Moshe's prophecy because of the signs that he did. He performed the miracles, but that's not why we follow him as a Navi. אלא כל האותות שעשה במדבר לפי הצורך עשן. Says all the miracles that Moshe performed throughout the Ardeg, the whole journey through the desert and taking us out of Egypt, they were all for a purpose. They had a specific need for that miracle. Tzarach להשקיע את המצרים, קרע את הים וצלילם בו. There was a need now to drown the Egyptians that are chasing after them. So he split the sea, and when we passed, he closed it on them. It was for a very specific purpose. Tzarachnu lemazon. We had need for sustenance. We need to eat during the 40 years that we were in the desert. Right? Horid lanu et haman. So he brought down the man. V'chen sh'ar kol ha'otot. And so too, all the other miracles that Moshe Rabbeinu performed, they were all for a specific need. Ubema he'eminu bo. So, what is our faith in Moshe dependent on? Why is he above everyone else? B'ma'amad har Sinai, she'enenu ra'u velo zar, ve'oznenu shame'u velo acher. This is at Sinai. At Sinai, we were all direct witnesses to Moshe Rabbeinu's prophecy. It was kind of like a collaborative prophetic state where everybody took part in that prophecy, and we all saw God speaking to Moshe. והכל מתדבר אליו ואנו שומעים. Right? They hear the voice, the call from God coming, and we all hear it, and it says, Moshe, Moshe, nechemor lahem kach v'chach. It says, Moshe, go say these words to Bnei Israel. And then he goes and he says these words to Bnei Israel. וכן הוא אומר, פנים בפנים דיבר השם עמכם. Right, face to face, God spoke to you, the nation. We were all witnesses there. נמצאו אלו ששולח להם, הם העדים על נבואתו שהיא אמת. So what do we have from here? Bottom line is the nation, the people that this prophet Moshe was sent to, they themselves are witnesses, can testify to his prophecy. There's no need to prove it, right? Because we were all there when it happened. ואינו צריך לעשות להם אות. And there's no need for Moshe to substantiate his prophecy with a miracle or with an oath. An oath, it's not necessarily like a supernatural miracle. It could also just be like a very precise prediction. Like it's going to rain at 12 o'clock until 12:05 in 36 seconds. If it comes to pass exactly like that, that's an oath. Nimtzeta omer. All right, so what can we learn from here? שכל נביא שיעמוד אחר משה רבנו, אין אנו מאמינים בו מפני האות לבדו, כדי שנאמר אם יעשה אות, נשמע לו לכל מה שיאמר. So, why do we listen to the instruction of the prophets? Right? Any prophet that comes after Moshe, we don't trust his prophecy because of the miracle or the sign that he brings us. So we say, well, if he does some sort of sign, if he's able to do some amazing magic trick, then we're going to listen to him. And if not, then not. So why do we listen to the Navi? Where does the Navi derive his authority. אלא מפני המצווה שציוונו משה בתורה. We listen to the Navi because Moshe in the Torah commanded that if a Navi comes, someone who we expect to be a Navi, and he provides us with some sort of sign, then we are instructed to listen to him. So where is the authority of the Navi coming from? It's coming from the Torah, from Moshe. Right? That's where a Navi derives his authority. Not a sign, not his claim to speak to God. It could be true. Maybe he spoke to God. Maybe he gave him a sign, and he tells us something that goes against the Torah. Right? Well, your whole authority is coming from the Torah. It's coming from Moshe. So, if you're not compatible with the Torah, then you have no authority to begin with.
So Moshe, the prophet, outlined the future rules for prophecy.
Yes.
And
basically what he's saying is, even before Moshe, anybody comes to you and tells you, I spoke to God, and therefore you need to do this and this, you say, well, if God wants me to do this and this, he should tell me. Why is he telling you? Right? So there's no reason for me to listen to you. Maybe you're delusional. Right? Maybe you're on some sort of trip. I'm not going to listen to you. Moshe experienced this prophecy in our presence, where we accepted the Torah, we witnessed his prophecy. We don't need any sign in order to prove his prophecy. And now Moshe instructed us that when a Navi comes and says, I spoke to God, and he gives us a sign, then you're obligated to listen to the instruction of the Navi. All right? Is that understood? Ve'amarim natan ot elav tishmon. It says, and if a prophet comes and he gives you a sign, then you must listen to him. כמו שסיוונו לחתוך דבר על פי שני עדים, ואף על פי שאין לנו יודעים אם אמת העידו אם שקר. The same way that we have an instruction that when a party comes to court, right, and you have two witnesses that can testify to this person's action, whether he's guilty or not, right? We don't know for real if their testimony is true or false, but we have a certain instruction. You have two witnesses, and they're both saying the same thing, and you interrogate them, and it seems right. You make the Pesach halacha according to the testimony of those two witnesses. Same too, we have an instruction. If a Navi comes and says, I spoke to God, and God said, do this or don't do this, and he's able to bring a sign to prove that God actually sent him, then the instruction in the Torah is to follow the instruction of the Navi. לפיכך, therefore, אם עמד נביא ועשה אותות ומופתים גדולים, right, a prophet comes and he does these amazing magic tricks, right? He's able to make the Statue of Liberty disappear or the Wall of China disappear. וביקש להכחיש נבואתו של משה רבנו, and he comes, he performs these tricks, and he's coming to deny the authority of Moshe, or he's coming to reject the Torah or something in the Torah. En shom'in lo, we don't listen to him, we don't follow his instruction. הואיל ואין אנו מאמינים במופת, אלא מפני המצווה שציוונו משה. האח נקבל מאוד זה שבא להכחיש נבואתו של משה, שראינו וששמענו. All right? So, why do we not listen to him? Is because the only reason that a sign is authoritative for us is because Moshe said, if he brings you a sign, then you listen to him. But if he's coming now to counter Moshe's testimony, his prophecy, then he is basically he's undoing the foundation for his own authority. And so he has no authority and you don't listen to him. V'im ya'amud ish, and if someone should come, ben Yisrael, ben min ha'umot, whether he's Jewish or from any of the nations, v'yaseh ot u'mofed v'yomar she'Hashem shelacho lehosif misvah or ligroa misvah, right? Somebody comes and he says, God spoke to me and he said, from now on, there isn't 613 mitzvot, there's 614. God wants to add another mitzvah to the Torah, or God wants to subtract a mitzvah from the Torah, or God said that the Old Testament is no longer valid, right? You could remove all those mitzvot and just do this and this, right? או לפרש במצווה מן המצוות פירוש שאינו שמענו ממשה. Not only if he wants to add or subtract a mitzvah, but he wants to interpret a mitzvah, give it some sort of interpretation that is not an interpretation that we received in tradition. הרי זה נביא שקר. This is a false prophet, שהרי בא להכחיש נבואתו של משה, because he's coming and he is rejecting Moshe's prophecy. But it says, שהוא ברוך שמו ציווה למשה שהמצווה הזאת, right? Because he instructed Moshe, God instructed Moshe in the Torah, that this Torah, this commandment, לנו ולבנינו עד עולם, it's for us and our descendants forever. Yes.
You're saying us and our descendants, but previously you said for non-Jews as well, right?
I said if a non-Jew, it doesn't matter, Jewish or non-Jewish, he comes and he does all these magnificent miracles, and he says God sent him. And you know what? We even know that he's a very wise person. We even know, we would expect him to be a Navi. And all of a sudden he comes and he says, you know what? We're going to change the meaning of a mitzvah. All right? Shabbat is not going to be on Saturdays anymore.
Right.
We're moving it to Tuesdays. All right? He's a Navi Sheker. He's a false prophet.
Unless we have proof.
No. We don't need proof. If he's coming and changing the Torah in any way, he's a false prophet.
Oh.
Doesn't matter what miracle he performs.
Well, isn't that counterintuitive? Because Torah can never be changed anyways. It's a foundational idea.
Exactly. The Torah can't be changed. It's lo b'shamayim. It's no longer in the realm of the heavens. It's in our hands. And you have no right to come and reinterpret the Torah.
Yeah.
What that's saying is God has no right to reinterpret the Torah because he has no way of communicating it with us. Because anyone claims that God spoke to him and he's changing the Torah, well, it's capital punishment.
Yeah. So, like, for example, did Muhammad and Jesus both want to change mitzvot or Torah? Or were
Jesus wiped out the Torah.
It was just BS.
Yeah, he wiped out the Torah. Jesus wiped out the Torah. He says you don't need to keep the mitzvot.
So automatically, it's just BS.
But it's not even to add or subtract the mitzvah or cancel a mitzvah or cancel the Torah. It says even introducing a new interpretation to the existing Torah. If we already have a tradition on a certain law, we received a tradition on the law, and he's coming to reinterpret it, saying God said that this is the meaning of the law. We say you are a false prophet, and that's capital punishment.
What's the difference between that and then what like a future Sanhedrin would do on Torah Baal Peh, and when they argue against previous laws?
So a future Sanhedrin has the authority to make those changes. A prophet doesn't. It can't be in the name of God. It could be in the name of the court.
two totally different things.
A person comes, he's charged with how do you call it? He's charged with murder.
Mm.
He comes to court. They're sitting in court. They don't have two solid testimonies. All right, a prophet comes and says he's guilty. So I'm sorry, that's not part of the legal framework. That doesn't help.
Wow. So it sounds like Moshe and Hashem really thought this through. They wanted to make it a religion for people, not for
Right.
a Messiah or a
Exactly. A Messiah, a prophet, whatever.
Elitist
People can't just come and change it. It's not theirs to change. It belongs to Lanu Ulvanenu, us and our descendants. And it's the responsibility of the Supreme Court to protect the Torah from change.
Yeah, makes sense. Because without that rule, you would have cults. You would have people following.
That's what you have.
That's what we have today.
Yeah, you have cults everywhere. Every religion has cults. And Imken, if so, it seems that this prophets, they don't really have too much authority. What's the point of having a prophet? Lama ne'emar b'Torah. Why does it say in the Torah, Navi akim lahem mikerev achihem? Why does the Torah say that I'm going to supply them with prophets from their brethren, from their nation? Lo la'asod datubah. He doesn't come to legislate. He doesn't come to make law. He doesn't come to make a religion. Ela lisavot al divrei haTorah, but to instruct us and encourage us to follow the Torah. Kmo she'amar aharon shebahem, as the last of the prophets, right, in Sefer Malachi, it says, Zichru Torah Moshe Avdi, remember the laws of Moshe, my servant. All the prophets come to encourage us, even the last prophet, right? So the Muslims, they have the last prophet. Muhammad is the last prophet. That means that what he says overrides everything that was previously said. With us, our last prophet to date, our last prophet came to instruct us to follow the Torah exactly as Moshe instructed.
It's crazy.
Just follow the rules.
So let's just follow the rules. V'chen, and also, in addition, im sivanu b'divrei hareshut, right? If he comes to instruct us or even command us on optional things. כגון, לכו למקום פלוני, או אל תלכו, עשו מלחמה היום, או אל תעשו, says, go out to war with this nation, or don't go out to war with this nation. These are optional things. They're not prescribed in the Torah one way or another, right? Binu homa zo, al tivnu, build a wall around the city, or says this city doesn't need to, don't waste your resources on building a wall around this city, doesn't need one. Right? If he comes, it says, God instructed me to tell you to build the wall, and he proves that he is a Navi by bringing us some sort of sign, then Elav Tishme'un, you have to follow his instruction. Misva lishma lo v'ha'over al devarav hayav mita b'dei shamayim. And someone who doesn't follow his instruction or goes against his instruction gets punishable by death, min hashamayim, from God. I mean, it's not the court that's going to execute him. They're saying God is going to worry about your punishment.
Let them go free.
The court can't do anything about it. They say, oh, I don't know. Okay, so
They're for guidance. He's guiding us
mostly there for guidance.
in the way to just...
All the mitzvot we already received, so there's no need to now legislate new mitzvot, right? And we'll see there is still one more area that he has that can conflict with the Torah. All right, so he's here to guide us to do things that we may need to do. Maybe he says, he comes with this prophecy and says, you know what, there's natural gas so far off the coast, maybe start drilling there, right? And then he comes to prove, he says, I'm not going to now waste millions of dollars in drilling in the middle of the sea in order to find natural gases. And he says, no, God told me this is the sign. He instructed me to tell you guys to start drilling. then we have to listen to him, and we go and we drill. If it turns out that there's no natural gases there, he's a false prophet and he's executed.
Public?
Oh yeah, it's pretty public.
Is there a specific way, like lead down the throat or something?
You never saw Monty Python?
No.
Stoning.
No,
Oh, stoning.
I think it's panic. I don't think it's. I think in the case of false prophet, he's hanged or
Hanging?
suffocated.
What's the one
Not
with
really
poured molten lead down there?
That one, yeah, suffocated.
Ah, okay.
Oh,
Very nice.
were you through the torture museum in front?
No, this is in the Torah.
Then, and also in addition, so we say if he comes to instruct us on something that is optional, or he comes to or he comes to instruct us to follow the Torah, right? Or אם יאמר לנו הנביא שנודע לנו שהוא נביא, if a prophet comes, he's already been verified as a true prophet, לעבור על אחת מכל מצוות האמורות בתורה, או על מצוות הרבה. He comes and instructs us to transgress a mitzvah of the Torah, or even multiple mitzvot, ben kalot, ben hamurot, whether it is light transgressions or terrible transgressions, like there's no Shabbat, all right? Lefi sha'ah, temporarily, mitzvah lishmo'anu. Then you have to listen. He says, this Shabbat, right, everyone's transgressing the Shabbat. Right? He sees in his prophecy there's going to be a huge war, and we need to prepare, and everyone, there's no Shabbat. This Shabbat, there's no Shabbat. All right? This one time, not canceling the mitzvah of Shabbat, but God instructed him to instruct us not to keep this specific Shabbat. All right? Mitzvah nishmo'a no. Then you have to listen to his instruction on anything he commands to, no matter what mitzvah he tells you to annul or to desecrate, hus me'avodah zarah, except for a pagan ritual.
So as long as it's not permanent. Not permanent.
Exactly. As long as it's a temporary desecration, he's not canceling the mitzvah. He's just saying temporarily, I don't know, for this specific period of time or this specific day, right? We're going to transgress this mitzvah or a number of mitzvot.
Does it give a limit of timeline? Like, could he say, we
Um,
need to not have Shabbat for a year because we need to prepare every single day for an incoming invasion?
that's not it's not specified.
No.
So
Something reasonable.
if he says a specific period of time, the point is he's not saying that it's canceled.
He's
He's saying we have an instruction to transgress it for now, for whatever reason. All right? Anything except for avodah zarah, for worshiping another entity, right? Even if he says, do avodah zarah just this one time,
Yes.
but avodah zarah is one of those three, yihareg val ya'avur. Under no circumstance ever is someone allowed to do avodah zarah. If someone puts a gun to your head, makes you do avodah zarah, or I pull the trigger, you say pull the trigger.
What's the definition of avodah zarah? Just anything idolatrous?
There's pagan rituals. If you do one of those pagan rituals, if you did something that wasn't exactly that pagan ritual, then you'll be exempted at court.
The good thing we don't do any pagan rituals, so can't do
There's
it.
the list. But that's why, in order to be a member of the Sanhedrin, you need to be very you need to know pagan rituals well, because you need to be able to know, to judge if this person performed the ritual exactly as the pagan ritual prescribes, or if he did something else.
So what's the pagan ritual? Like if you went to do communion or something?
Just bowing down in front of a statue. There's certain rituals where they throw a stone to the statue, and all sorts of things.
In midsummer, they raise this big pole.
So it could be a
And
lot.
they dance around it.
Yeah, there could be a lot of things.
Rain
Question, Rob.
Even
Yeah, so Ricardo, you had a question?
Yes, shalom. I was wondering the moment in history when the oral Torah was written down. To me, that's still, somewhat a mystery. Is that one of these cases? Like, how was that
No,
approved
there's
or
no
recognized?
prophecy involved in that.
Correct. It's a different
We'll
topic.
study that. That's in the next section
Okay.
of this course, but I think we'll have a few classes before we get there. But what
Okay.
happened there was that the Mishnah was basically compiled from a lot of different Hachamim's personal notes. And there was one collection of these notes that became very widespread. And then the court certified it. So even here, there's no prophecy involved. It's a legal process that happened in the court. And when people were writing it, they weren't writing it as a Torah Shebe'al Peh publication. It was written as personal notes.
Okay.
So,
So even if it's contradicting a direct commandment from Hashem in the written Torah.
So there is no real commandment not to write down laws.
Isn't it written, you will never write down all this and it will be passed on from through generations?
Right. So oral tradition passes on orally. What happened?
Uh-huh.
But still, throughout all the generations, from the times of Moshe until the Mishnah, or until today, people would be in a class and they still write down their notes to themselves. They'd have summaries. Certain
Got it.
summaries were of higher quality than others. And then
Got
when Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi collected the best summaries that he found, he put them together, and that became widespread, and everyone was learning from that until the court said, you know what? Let's make this the official summary that everyone learns from.
Okay, thank you.
But
Amazing.
we'll see that process later on, a few more weeks.
he went to like
Toda.
13 places or something like that, no?
He collected. There's a lot of.
Or maybe
There were a lot of different. There was a lot of literature at the time.
Okay.
There was a Mechilta, but it wasn't just one Mechilta. There's Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, there's Rabbi Akiva, there's the Sifra, there's the Sifrei, the Tosefta. There are all sorts of different compositions that he collected from them, and he put them all together. All right. לפי שעה, מצווה, okay, חוץ מעבודה זרה, והוא שיהיה הדבר לפי שעה. This is under the condition that this instruction that goes against the Torah is only a temporary one. כגון אליהו בהר הכרמל, such as the case with Eliyahu, who brought a sacrifice in Haifa, Mount Carmel. All right? שהקריב עולה בחוץ, וירושלים נבחרה, because you're only allowed once Jerusalem was designated as the place of the temple. That's the only place you're allowed to bring sacrifices. It's asur to bring a sacrifice anywhere outside of the Mikdash. All right? ואילו שאלו את אליהו ואמרו לו, נעקור מה שכתוב בתורה, פן תעלה עולותיך בכל מקום. Says, and if they would come to Eliyahu and ask Eliyahu, right, you're instructing us now to bring sacrifices on the Carmel mountain, should we now void what says in the Torah that you can't bring sacrifices anywhere, wherever you want? היה אומר, he'd say, no, אלא המקריב בחוץ לעולם חייב כרת. Anyone who brings, he would say to them, no, of course not, we're not canceling the mitzvah. Forever, anybody who brings a sacrifice outside of Yerushalayim is karet. He gets cut off from Olam Haba. כמו שציווה Moshe, as Moshe instructed. אבל אני היום, however, today only, akriv b'chutz b'dvar Hashem, I will bring a sacrifice outside of Jerusalem according to God's instruction. כדי להכחיש נביא הבעל, in order to falsify all the false prophets. He had a very big. Did you guys study at all the story of Eliyahu and all the false prophets? He was basically one of the only true prophets left standing up for the Torah. All the other prophets were pagan prophets.
You mean the fire coming with the water?
Right, and so so they had this whole big showdown on Mount Carmel, and he basically instructed everyone to bring korbanot on Mount Carmel, and he was bringing korban to God, and he said, "Let's see, maybe if you blow the trumpets, you'll wake up your gods, and they'll come and they'll ignite your sacrifice." And so what he did is he covered his sacrifices with water and everything just to make it as difficult as possible until, and then when he called out to God, his sacrifice ignited spontaneously, and that was like the showdown between him and all the other false
So
prophets.
did all the other false prophets get executed?
Well, there was no one to execute them. They were in service of the king.
Ah,
The king was married to Isabel, who was she was herself was pagan,
no one was.
and he was a wicked king.
So no one would kill him.
No, they tried to kill Eliel
Yeah, sure.
after that.
Did Isabella convert afterwards?
No, she was horrible.
Oh my God.
So it sounds like we
No, what she did is she chased after Eliel to try to kill him.
I gotta read that story.
It sounds like we
Yeah,
really should have.
I think-
We really should have killed Jesus. We shouldn't have had the Romans kill Jesus. No.
Well, the question is, was Jesus really claiming to be? I don't know exactly what
I
happened.
don't know exactly either. But everyone blamed us for killing Jesus.
They blame us for killing Jesus. From what I know, the extent of our responsibility with Jesus was that we said he's over there.
Yeah.
The Romans wanted to kill Jesus for their own reasons, and we just kind of let them know where he is.
We didn't say it. We didn't stop them.
Which, by the way, is also a question if we're allowed to. Are you allowed to tell the Romans where a Jew is that they want to kill?
It's been us, like.
Yeah, but Pinchas is still us. We're allowed to kill, if there's someone that is condemned to death, then we're allowed to put him on trial and kill him. Are we allowed to tell a foreign nation that this guy, we want him dead? Come and kill him?
But this guy is a very bad guy, and God hates this guy, so we hate this guy, and
So then you kill him.
Or it could be like a pekuach nefesh.
and
Like
because we love God, we can kill him because he's a very bad
Who?
Jesus.
If the court would have put him on trial and executed him, that's
Well,
fine.
us killed without the court.
Okay, that's a different. Well, when is kinah mutar? And that's a different story. But then again, it was Pinchas. It wasn't Pinchas telling on the Goy authorities to kill the head of Midian.
The question is,
Uh,
did we have the high courts prosecute Jesus and get?
Yeah, we had a high court then.
We did have the high courts.
It could be that they also prosecuted him and sentenced him to death, but they didn't actually have the practical authority to do it because they
So
were
that's
under
why they
Roman
handed
rule.
him over exactly.
so we don't know the
So-
story. We don't know.
But that's getting into Din Moser. It's a whole other topic. It's not part of any of my courses, really.
Yeah.
But we're good. We did the right thing. We're off scot free.
We didn't do it.
Okay, we didn't do
We
it.
didn't do it.
We didn't have the authority.
וכן אם עקר דבר מדברים שלימדנו מפי השמועה, and so too, not just annulling a mitzvah of the Torah, but any tradition that we received, if he wants to come and change the tradition that received, שהשם ציווה לו שהדין כך הוא והלכה כדברי פלוני, הרי זה נביא שקר. Even if he comes to interfere, he says, God told me that this is the halacha. We have now a dispute in court, right? There's Bet Shammai and there's Bet Hillel, and you have a prophet, and he goes, halacha like Bet Shammai in this case. It's unacceptable. Not only is it unacceptable, Harizin Avisheker, he's a false prophet, Vihanek, right? And he should be executed by Hanek, suffocation. Af al pi she'asaot, even though he brought us some sort of sign to verify his prophecy, Shahariba lehakchish Torah she'amra lo b'shamayim hi, right? Because he's coming to invalidate the Torah itself that says that the Torah and interpretation of the Torah, lo b'shamayim, it's not in the realm of the heaven, but of the earthly court. So don't come and tell me what God has to say about it. It's none of his business. Aval lefi sha'ah, however, if it's temporary, shom'in lo bakol, then we listen to any instruction that he gives us, except for avodah zara. All right, so the authority of the Navi comes from the Torah, comes from the authority of Moshe. The only reason to listen to a Navi is because Moshe instructed us that in certain cases you listen to a Navi. If it doesn't fall within those cases, we don't listen to the Navi, right? It's not that anybody claiming that God spoke to him, no matter how wondrous miracles he's able to do, it doesn't matter. We don't need to listen to him because the only reason to listen to a Navi is because Moshe instructed us to. So anybody coming and going against the mitzvah of the Torah is basically, he's also rejecting the only reason for us to listen to him to begin with.
In the 13 principles, master of prophets.
B'diuk.
Master of all prophets.
Right. Moshe is the master of all prophets, Rabban Shel Kol
Even
HaNevi'im.
before him.
It means, what does it mean, the master? Yeah, even before him. Meaning, because even prophecy before him, like if Avraham Avinu received the law in prophecy, right, that didn't obligate anybody else other than Avraham, and he can instruct his descendants to follow this, but it's not like a national, it's not a national authority. All right, so again,
I love it.
They
the
did a good job. They really thought of it out. Besides the
I
Sanhedrin.
can't have enough of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
We desperately
kind
need
of left hanging in the air now.
the iOS update. Like
So-
we're,
if someone comes and tells us that God instructed him something, why would we believe him? Only because
we've seen some proof.
that's a condition.
He's enforcing the Torah.
But what's only because the Torah said so. So if he goes against the Torah, then we don't listen to him.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
We'll start listening to him if he's in reinforcing the Torah.
If he's reinforcing the Torah, it could be that he's telling us to transgress a mitzvah of the Torah, but only temporarily.
So, for example, what was the thing that Jesus did that was against the
Torah.
Torah?
First of all, I'm not even sure that Jesus himself came to transgress the Torah. I think it could have even been like later. Regarding Christianity, I think it was just like a failed sect, like a failed like Hasidic sect or
Yeah.
something. You know, it was, there's the Rebbe and he has his teachings, right? And he had his followers, and he had a lot of people that
Jesus was always also saying he was doing magic. Water into wine or whatever.
magic or miracles, interpret it how you want, right? Only once it failed and it wasn't really accepted by mainstream Judaism, his later students tried to like repackage it and sell it to the Gentiles. And then when they said, wait, so now I have to circumcise myself, he says, no, you don't need to. And it was true. If you're Gentile, you don't need to. Right? So I don't think he was even coming to annul the Torah. There were certain lessons he was trying to teach, right? If you're Jewish, you need to follow. But once it was repackaged for the Goyim, then the mitzvot are irrelevant to them.
So why did the students want to repackage them for the Goyim? For what reason? Why would they want to
They want to promote the Rebbe's teachings.
But we're told specifically not to. So they were already
Why?
transgressing. What?
We're told specific not to do what?
Not to, reach out to Goyim and say, hey,
Well, I want to reach out, teach them. You have great lessons that you want to teach the Goyim on morality and stuff like that, right? And it's based on Jewish knowledge or wisdom, right? Yeah, sure, why not? And then when they say, wait, does that mean I now have to circumcise myself? No, you don't need to. You have 7 mitzvot, you just follow them, right? And just we have like an ethical code line, code for you. It's not a legal code.
Christians, they believe in the 7 mitzvot, or?
I think so.
No, they had the 10 commandments, no?
Yeah, they follow. I don't know. Sort
Who
of things
knows?
they do. They also have some form of
They're doing something.
Sabbath too,
They're
right?
doing something, who knows?
Right.
But I think it's also important to know that way we can defend Torah.
What do you mean?
Know the in and outs of like the question that we're trying to get into, is to like know a little bit more, that way we can defend it rock solid.
Oh, yeah. The courses I teach here are foundational, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
idea is to give you solid foundation.
With
Exactly.
these foundations are like ideas, it becomes so easy to defend Torah, because it's not, you don't really need to go that depth. It's just very black and white.
Yeah, you just need to learn it.
You just need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, like I said, unfortunately, at the beginning of this course, people studying yeshiva for maybe even 30, 40, 50 years, they don't have these foundations so solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't get enough of this. Like a lot of Jews who are born into it, they're not that passionate about it.
I think also we're learning really important stuff with like a broader understanding versus like, oh, what kind of hard cheese are we supposed to, not eat for meat?
Yeah.
Oh, Buddha, it's like, okay, but like, with this, like, it's
What is offended now?
rough.
Man, I love this.
All right, since it's 8, we'll stop here. There's another section so we'll do it next week before we start studying the midrash. It's very quick, but I don't want to hold you guys up.
When you give shiurs to the girls, is it the same shiurs or is it different?
I've given this in the past to the girl like 2 years ago. So there's recordings of all of these classes up on the YouTube
So
channel.
like right now, you said that.
Now I'm more substitute for the girls. So I don't have like a course. So every time Bracha says, could you fill in? And I have to come up with a class for that lesson. So they're like standalone classes.
Because they do video classes, so I feel like if
Tuesdays, yes.
like extra, you can just.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Darkness is coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
What is for?